Wild West, an era shrouded in mystery and tales of lawlessness. It was a time when men and women ventured into uncharted territories, seeking fortune and adventure. In this untamed land, where justice was often a scarce commodity, the Apache tribe held a prominent place in the collective imagination. But behind their fearsome reputation lay a dark and lesser-known aspect: punishments inflicted solely on women. Today we delve into the forgotten stories of the terrible punishments that the Apache only reserved for women during the Wild West. The Apache tribe, known for their fierce warriors, was deeply rooted in tradition and a strict code of conduct. When it came to maintaining order within their communities, they adhered to a set of punishments tailored specifically for women who violated their customs and norms. In Apache society, the role of women was highly valued, as they played vital roles in the tribe's survival. They were responsible for the day-to-day tasks of gathering food, preparing meals, and raising children. Any transgressions that threatened the harmony of the community were dealt with through a series of punishments. When a woman was accused of committing a grave offense, the matter was brought before the Council of Elders. Here, tribal leaders and wise women convened to discuss the alleged transgression and determine the appropriate punishment. One of the most common forms of punishment for women among the Apache was shunning. When a woman violated tribal norms, such as engaging in infidelity or neglecting her duties, she risked being ostracized from her community. It was one of the most extreme punishment that the Apache inflicted on women was banishment. In cases of the most severe offenses, such as betrayal or endangering the tribe's security, a woman could be cast out entirely. The shunned woman would be expelled from the tribe and left to wander alone in the wilderness, facing the harsh realities of survival. She would be banished from the Apache lands and cut off from her people forever. Without the support and protection of her tribe, the shunned woman faced immense challenges. Isolated from her family and friends, she was vulnerable to the elements, wild animals, and other dangers of the untamed frontier. Another punishment reserved for women was public humiliation. In cases where a woman had brought shame upon herself and her family, she would be subjected to a public spectacle. This form of discipline aimed to publicly humiliate the individual and deter others from similar actions. Public shaming involved verbal abuse, insults, and the airing of wrongdoings in front of the entire tribal community. The woman would face judgment and scrutiny from her peers, elders, and family members. Symbolism played a role, with the use of specific clothing or symbols representing her transgressions. In extreme cases, physical punishment like slapping or beating could be inflicted. The consequences of public shaming extended beyond the immediate punishment, as the woman carried a lasting stigma within the community. She faced ongoing judgment, exclusion from social activities, and implications for her future relationships and prospects. Can you believe how horrible these tribes were in the past were? But let us tell you, this is nothing. Next up, we have the most excruciating punishment of all: mutilation. In the most extreme cases, the Apache tribes resorted to mutilation as a means of punishment. Women who committed severe offenses, such as adultery or betrayal, were subjected to disfiguring acts. Mutilation could take various forms, such as disfigurement or permanent scarring inflicted upon visible parts of the body, including the face, arms, or hands. These include even branding them with hot objects. These acts served as a visible mark of shame and a reminder of the transgression committed. The intention behind such brutal acts of mutilation was to not only inflict physical pain, but also to publicly display the consequences of deviating from the accepted social norms and expectations. It was a means to ensure conformity and maintain the communal order, emphasizing the severity of the offense committed by the woman. Now, we can take a look into the second one we have here. A particularly severe punishment for women among the Apache was the burden of extra labor. Extra labor often involved demanding physical work that extended beyond the regular daily chores and responsibilities of women within the tribe. This could include tasks such as gathering firewood, fetching water from distant sources, tending to livestock, preparing food, or working in the fields. The intent behind assigning extra labor was twofold: to provide a tangible consequence for the woman's actions and to emphasize the importance of communal contribution and shared responsibility. By burdening the offender with additional labor, Apache communities sought to instill a sense of accountability and foster an understanding of the impact of one's actions on collective well-being. It was believed that through this form of punishment, the woman would not only learn from her mistakes, but also re-establish her place within the community by actively contributing to its functioning and survival. Isn't all these very scary and mind-numbing? But the women of the Apache tribe had to go through more of this. Let's see. Another one of their punishments was being denied access to the basic necessities of life. Here the women were subjected to a desperate struggle for sustenance, water, and shelter. The deprivation was a calculated act intended to teach a harsh lesson and enforce conformity. Imagine a woman, cast out from her kin, wandering the rugged wilderness, her parched throat yearning for a sip of water, her stomach crying out in hunger. Every step she took was a battle against the elements as she faced scorching heat, biting cold, and the ever-present danger of predators lurking in the shadows. The pain of isolation gnawed at her spirit, and the weight of her choices bore down upon her weary shoulders. Without the support and resources of her community, her chances of survival diminished. To further control and punish women, Apache tribes resorted to confining them in sweat lodges. These small, suffocating structures were heated to extreme temperatures, causing immense discomfort and distress to those inside. The oppressive heat and lack of ventilation subjected women to unbearable conditions, serving as a form of psychological torment. There are two practices that gained notoriety: scalping and running the gauntlet. Though it is crucial to note that these practices were not exclusive to Apache tribes and were not specifically targeted at women. Scalping was a brutal act of warfare that involved removing the scalp, or the skin and hair, from the head of an enemy as a trophy. This act was not limited to women and was often carried out on both men and women as a means of asserting dominance, instilling fear, or seeking vengeance. Running the gauntlet, on the other hand, was a form of punishment or initiation that involved the accused individual running between two rows of people armed with weapons. As the accused sprinted through the gauntlet, they would be struck, beaten, and subjected to various forms of physical abuse by the row of attackers. This punishment was not exclusive to women, but could be applied to anyone within the tribe found guilty of a severe offense. These punishments aimed to be a grueling reminder of her transgressions, as well as a warning to others who might consider straying from the accepted path. What do you think of these spine-chilling atrocities? Were they really necessary? While some may view them as harsh and unforgiving, they were products of a time and culture shaped by the unique challenges of the frontier. As the sun sets on this forgotten chapter of the Wild West, let us remember the struggles and sacrifices of the women who bore the weight of these terrible punishments. They too played a vital role in shaping the untamed land, and their stories deserve to be told and remembered.